Infowars.com. There's some huge news coming out of Judicial Watch, things that we have reported on here at Infowars many times. Josh Owens and I actually went down to the border because of Judicial Watch reports talking about how ISIS had infiltrated an opera just across from El Paso, and were using that as an area to train and bring in jihadis and then eventually come across the border and carry out attacks. And today we have this shootout at U.S. Consulate in Nuevo Laredo, part of cartel/terrorist attack plan for Trump inauguration. It says a deadly shootout at the construction site of the new American consulate occurred this week in a Mexican border town where Islamic terrorists and drug cartel. Now, let me go back a second. I made a prediction a while back, about a year ago, when I was down there looking for the mosque, when I was looking for these ISIS training centers, when I went over into Anapra. I went over there by myself with some guy that I'd paid to drive me over there. We actually had to muddy up the truck to make the truck look like it was a piece of crap so we could kind of blend in. And we were riding around in cartel areas, you know, with me by myself without any protection. Border security, border patrol on the other side. Josh Owens, my camera guy, was filming stuff from the other side of the border. As we came across, he was on the other side of the border fence. And I predicted that the cartel and the Islamic State fighters would come together eventually, because at the end of the day, they want money and they want to take down America, and that's something they both can agree on. So they have come together and they've done this attack. It says the Mexican military responded to the attack. Law enforcement sources on both sides of the border confirmed, insisting that their identities be kept confidential for security reasons, and at least 3 soldiers were killed and 13 people died in that shootout. That's being reported by a local newspaper over there in Nuevo Laredo. They were referring to the deceased as heavily armed delinquents that had an arsenal that included 12 automatic rifles, rocket-propelled grenade launchers, grenades, and loads of ammunition and drugs in 3 vehicles. One of them was armored. You know, this is getting serious. That's why we need our border secure. That's why we've been talking about this for so long. That's why we have made multiple trips down to the border to show you just how wide open it really is. And this kind of stuff is going to bleed over into our streets, and the blood will be on the hands of the Obama administration for failing to listen to these reports, ignoring the facts that this border is wide open and it's just waiting. Something is just waiting to happen. It says Judicial Watch's law enforcement intelligence sources say the barrage outside what's soon to be the new U.S. consulate is connected to a broad operation between Islamic State fighters and Mexican drug cartels to send President-elect Trump a message by engaging in attacks at border ports. Cartels usually don't work with jihadis for fear of having the border shut down, a veteran federal law enforcement agent said, but Trump is causing so much disruption in Mexico that they are partnering to send a message to who is in control. So we're using this whole narrative, this false narrative, this fake news lie that Trump is this, you know, evil person who's racist and hates everyone. And it's now at such a point that, you know, you've got the ISIS fighters and the drug cartels coming together and fueling even more fear that was created by CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, all of these people that, you know, kept pushing that narrative that Trump was this huge racist, you know, human being, and that's why we're seeing this. I mean, it's completely and totally out of control. It says now Nuevo Laredo is among the border towns that the terrorists and narco traffickers plan to launch attacks, and according to intelligence gathered by law enforcement agencies in the U.S. and Mexico. Others include Matamoros, Reynoso, and Ciudad Juarez, which is right across from El Paso. Now, in 2015, Judicial Watch reported that ISIS is operating in a camp just west of Ciudad Juarez called Anapra, and that's where they're bringing that up again. And that's right outside of one of the largest military installations, too, Fort Bliss. You have Biggs Army Airfield, 1st Armored Division, where I was stationed at for quite some time. This poses a huge threat. If you see Islamic State fighters and the money that the cartels have and the ability that they have with these traffic routes, with these tunnels, to be able to bring people over and carry out attacks here on American soil, that can cause a lot of chaos. That's why we need to untie the hands of our, you know, border patrolmen and our ICE agents and allow them to do their job and encourage them to do their job and reward them when they do their job, instead of essentially putting these handcuffs on them and not allowing them to do their work and just, hey, come on through. Hey, you know what? We're going to give you a free bus voucher to go anywhere you want. Find you a sanctuary city and go there. Look at Houston, Texas. It's one of the largest sanctuary cities in Texas, and it's because of this lax law that we have going on at the border. Hopefully, under Donald Trump, this will be cracked down on. They'll stop this. They'll stop that flow. They won't give them the movement to allow the cartels, and they won't allow ISIS to openly move across our borders and carry out attacks on innocent American lives. So this is really big, and this is something that we have reported on and been talking about, and we have a little vindication here with this report proving the fact that we said that ISIS would team up eventually with the drug cartels. Stay tuned for more reports at Infowars.com, and if you go to D.C. next week for the inauguration, keep your head on a swivel. It's going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot of planned violence out there. It could be one of the largest riots ever known to man. And who knows if some of these jihadis have already come across the border with the help of these drug cartels. This has been Joe Biggs with Infowars.com.
In case you haven't heard, InfoWars has become the most influential media outlet in America. We're making freedom go viral. And now we are proud to announce a new weapon in the epic battle against the globalists. InfoWars Prime, where you can watch live high-definition feeds of The Alex Jones Show, plus exclusive insider videos from the InfoWars crew and behind-the-scenes action. Go to Infowars.com/app and download today. InfoWars Prime is available right now for your iPhone or Android. You will have access to exclusive videos that you can't see anywhere else. And that means live coverage of events and breaking news on location as it happens. You can also take advantage of amazing deals from the InfoWars store that are only available for InfoWars Prime subscribers. That's InfoWars Prime at Infowars.com/app. And if you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.
Hey, this is Joe Biggs with Infowars.com. There's some huge news coming out of Judicial Watch, things that we have reported on here at Infowars many times. Josh Owens and I actually went down to the border because of Judicial Watch reports talking about how ISIS had infiltrated Anapra just across from El Paso, and were using that as an area to train and bring in jihadis and then eventually come across the border and carry out attacks. And today we have this shootout at U.S. Consulate in Nuevo Laredo, part of cartel/terrorist attack plan for Trump inauguration. It says a deadly shootout at the construction site of the new American consulate occurred this week in a Mexican border town where Islamic terrorists and drug cartel. Now, let me go back a second. I made a prediction a while back, about a year ago, when I was down there looking for the mosque, when I was looking for these ISIS training centers, when I went over into Anapra. I went over there by myself with some guy that I'd paid to drive me over there. We actually had to muddy up the truck to make the truck look like it